in theory, it may appear to be affecting their coffers, but in effect, this money moves around. And as this money is spent on bona fide items, it goes into somebody's taxable income. So it's actually kickstarting the economy. Sometimes they say, the old theory of that 1 ringgit, how it moves from hand to hand. So in the long run, it will be beneficial. It's spending. So each time there is spending, there is movement of funds, and the industries are kept alive, the businesses are thriving. Or even if they're not thriving, they're at least kept alive, especially those who are choking. Yeah, so it gives a new lease of life or a new breath of life. Timing-wise, if you always notice, whenever there is a recession in US, when it comes to an end in America, next it comes to this region. So the end is for them, maybe the beginning for us. Yes, so imported inflation, and this is something out of the control of our government, because it's not a local thing. In addition to the local scenario, yes, so you can get hit twice. So all these things help to reduce the impact. Employers are also known to voluntarily increase the employer's contribution, because the Income Tax Act allows tax deductions up to 19% where the employer makes its contribution, up to 19%. Okay, they allow a tax deduction. Of course, beyond that, they can still make a contribution, but they will not be eligible for a tax deduction. So employers have been known in the remuneration package for increasing this, because it's tax-free income as far as the employee is concerned. So perhaps this increase in 1% is timely, because the original percentage, I would say, it's still archaic. But what the government should look into in the long run, because at the moment they're focusing on keeping a good disposable income in the hands of the employees, they should look into increasing the mandatory contribution of the employee as well. If you were to reduce the corporate tax rates, or even together the personal tax rate, then you don't have an alternate source of tax revenue, then how are they going to carry it out? So until GST is introduced, in the meantime, it's business as usual. You see, there are a few angles to look at why there could be resistance from taxpayers. The government has done a good job in educating the taxpayers. When you have done everything to educate, if there are still concerns, then the government should move further from merely educating to elevate their fears. Currently, the service tax is at 6%. And the government had committed that GST will be at 4%. So technically, it should be paying less by 2%. Then they say there will be a proportionate, usually there is this understanding that when GST is introduced, there will be a reduction in corporate and personal taxes. So if you put to a person who is not in the taxable bracket now, so I'm paying 0 personal tax, but I have to pay more for consumption tax, the reduction in tax rates means nothing to them. To me, it would. And and consumption of goods, sometimes you don't have a choice. It's not only on luxury goods you can choose to consume or not. Even including sinful items such as cigarettes and alcohol, it's a choice. And it's a category of luxury. But basic items, essentials, the government has said 0 rated, or they'll be exempted. And then the question will come, what assurance is that it will not increase from 4% to something much higher beyond 6%, not too far in the future? So the government has to come up with some mechanism to convince the rakyat that when we say it will not be raised, and if it's raised, it will be with the approval of the rakyat. I mean, you can't go for a referendum for this, but there will be ways. I mean, at the end of the day, the rakyats are the bosses. So they need to be elevated, especially those who are not in the taxable bracket. Yeah, they've taken good care of their civil servants, then of course followed by the lower income group. The upper and middle income group have gained nothing, because I think traditionally the income gap between the civil service and the private sector has been a wide gap. So this actually, the new remuneration package and the increments is actually narrowing the gap. At the implementation stage, it's not watertight, then it becomes an unrealistic budget. There should be a second tier of independent people who have the power to say, this leakage is taking place here. you know, and there should come down hard on those who hijack it, so to speak, you know, be they little Napoleons or whoever. So the implementation is so important. Only then it will benefit everybody, you know. Only when it benefits everybody will it look good on the government. You know, the government, of course, is going to, the time is coming for them to go back to get the mandate of the people, you know, and it expires every 5 years, and there's a time they have a record to show. So if they have the record to show, they'll get the mandate. If they don't have a record to show, then people will not be happy.